Hey everyone, we are coming to you live. This is the She Talks Football podcast right here from the Undroppables. I'm on the Undroppables platform, you guys. I am on the Undroppables platform. Great group of people. So glad to be here. And so this is actually my first podcast, and I decided that we're just going to come live and talk about some things besides I have something great to really talk about. So make sure that you are following the Undroppables on Twitter at the Undroppables. Tweet it out. Tell your friends, family, everyone, anybody that's a Chiefs fan, Ravens fan, and a few of these other games that we are going to get into that happen in week 2. But the first thing that I would like to do after welcoming you to the She Talks Football podcast and me being your host, Gina, um, I would like to introduce you to my two special guests that I have here today on this podcast. So, the first one is, as you can see there, Bobby. Bobby is the host of the No Pro Football Show, and that is his podcast. And you can actually find his podcast on YouTube right now. There are a few episodes out there already for the No Pro Football Show, and also you can find him on Twitter at NP Football Show. So say hi, everyone. Welcome in, Bobby.
Good morning. Good morning.
He's saying morning, y'all, but we all know it's afternoon here on this Eastern Standard Time. And then my second guest and the most welcome guest. And it's just, I think it's just providence that we kind of got hooked in to talk about this. And I'm so glad that he's here. So, my second special guest is Charles Goodluck Chuck or Bad Luck Chuck. And he is 1/3 of the podcast called the Kingdom Cast podcast. You know, it's the Chiefs Kingdom. And he is on Twitter at CPen for the win. Chuck, good luck, bad luck, all of that. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me on. It's great to be here.
So I just want you guys to know that I'm not taking advantage of the unfortunate loss from the Chiefs. We actually had talked about this before that game actually came to fruition. And he asked me about, going on this podcast live after the game just to get some, reactions. And I agreed to it. And what I said to him was, oh, okay, yeah, it'll be cool because it'll be some raw emotion. And he was like, yeah, because, he was coming from the angle that the Chiefs was going to win again. Tell the truth, bro. That's what you thought, right?
Yeah, it didn't play out that way.
Right. So that's why I said, I was like, okay, well, it's just going to be my raw emotion. But in my mind, I was thinking it was going to be my sheer raw happiness, y'all, because I was convinced that we were going to win this game. I really was. I really was. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. So we agreed I was going to jump on his after the game, and then he was going to come jump on mine so we could talk about this. So it just so happens I'm the one that's pretty happy right now, as opposed to Chuck. But he's a cool dude. So let's get in on this Ravens Chiefs game. Woo! I'm just gonna say, like, dude, I was so excited ever since we saw them on our schedule and it was going to be a home game. I was convinced. I was like, this is going to be the year. We are going to get this monkey off our back. We are not going to lose to them for a fourth time. We can win this game. And then we get into preseason and we lose into the preseason and camp, and we lose our entire running backs team. And it's like, wait, what? How do you lose all of your running backs? Like literally all three of them. And then we lost Peters. And it's like, what the heck? But despite all of that, I was like, we can still win this game. So let's just jump into it. What are your thoughts just right off the bat? We'll hear from you, Chuck, and then we'll go to you, Bobby. And then I'll, come around and we can just discuss a few points going on in there.
Yeah, I've looked over the game again, condensed version, of course, but we look really bad against the run right now. We the worst run defense in the league. It's not even close. We've given up over 200 yards a game through 2 games. We've given up 7 rushing touchdowns. It's looking bad. And, overall, we've given up, between 7 and 8 yards per play on first down. That's even more egregious. Like our defense is just flat out garbage right now. Our run fits are terrible. Like in this game in particular, like guys kept biting on the RPOs. Like when Lamar does the little play action fake, guys just were not disciplined. They were not setting the edges whatsoever. They just kept biting on everything. Like there was no edge containment whatsoever. Like I think the only time we did a good job of setting the edge was like when the game was almost over, when we needed to get a stop and get the ball back. But of course, we couldn't do that. Linebackers weren't disciplined. They took advantage of Chris Jones. Chris Jones has never played a DN as far as like setting the edge and going against that running style. And it's the results are looking terrible right now. Like we're just not a good football team overall. Yeah, we can score still. We don't have a problem with that. But defense, man, defense, we got to get it together. Because like even with Tyron back, we had 2 interceptions right out the gate, and we didn't do a good job taking advantage of it. And like we had 11-point lead too. That's another thing. We should have closed out that game. We should have had more points put on the board. We let them just hang around too long. And like I think the turning point in this game kind of was like in the second quarter, right before the half. The Ravens had the ball with like 47 seconds left. And after it was 1st and 25, we let them run for 20 yards. That's pitiful. You can't let a team run for 20 yards on a 1st and 25. Like, come on now. And then all of a sudden, they driving a little bit. I believe Sammy caught a pass, and then Mark Andrew caught a pass on the sideline. Then Lamar, he had a big run, and that just gave the Ravens some hope right then and there. But even then, after we took the 11-point lead, Mahomes makes a big mistake. Sometimes he likes to play this little hero ball. He likes to do spectacular things because he's
Right.
used to doing it. He's used to making it happen. But
Yep.
in that situation on 3rd and 11, like you got to take that sack, bro. You got 11-point lead. We don't need the heroics right now. Try to pin the Ravens as deep as possible, make them go down the field. And those were just a few factors that just kind of just led to our demise in the end. And the Ravens took advantage of it.
Yeah, I just want everybody to know out there listening and watching. I know you see me grinning really hard and you think, man, she is grinning so hard talking about this game. But honestly, anytime I'm doing the podcast, I do pretty much grin the whole time because I just have a good time talking about football. But I will admit, there is a little extra teeth that's being seen right now, and I just can't help it here. I can't help it, y'all. I can't. But let's go to Bobby right here. So go ahead and throw out what few points you like to throw out about this game.
Well, I think there were a couple of keys to this game. One, I think the biggest one was the fact that we held them scoreless in the fourth quarter. They scored nothing in the fourth quarter, and that is so unlike the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. I think another thing was we held them to like 46 rushing yards or 56 or somewhere around there rushing yards for the entire game. And that was a key factor because they weren't able to do like the play action and the stuff like that anymore. And I think the other key was we actually changed our defense in the fourth quarter.
Yes, Lord.
We didn't play our regular or the common defenses that we normally play. Number one, our defensive tackle, one of our defensive tackles got hurt. And that may be why they changed the defensive scheme that they were playing. But the defensive scheme that they played for like the second half of the fourth quarter just shut everything down for the Chiefs. Like he didn't have the passing lanes that he had, and they were doing layered blitzes, so everybody wasn't coming at one time.
Right.
They would send and then see what happens, then send somebody else. And because Patrick Mahomes was doing his usual moving around outside the pocket trying to make plays happen, he had nowhere to go. So that I think those were the biggest keys, and that interception that he threw, which was a rookie mistake. Like he doesn't normally do things like that. So that was a bit unusual, but I'll take it. And then the heroic almost plays of Owe. Yeah, that guy's going to be something in this league. But those young guys, the young guys for the Ravens, really stepped up, especially on defense. They really stepped up. And the other biggest key was Hart. Nobody on the Ravens gave up. Nobody on the Ravens thought, wow, again. Nobody on the Ravens thought, well, this is Patrick Mahomes. What are we going to do? They thought, no, we're going to try to win this game. Like, our job is to win this game. And that's what they did. And props to the defensive calls that were going on in the fourth quarter. They did a much better job
Yeah.
than what they normally do. So props to them too. But props to the Chiefs because they played a hard, tough game for at least 3 quarters. So I'll give them props too. They're still the team to beat in the AFC, but we beat them.
Yeah, so just want to say if you guys are watching, you have questions, you have comments, I can see those. So go ahead and drop your comments or questions in. I'll be glad to, read some of those aloud and answer some of your questions. But yes, you guys really broke down the gameplay very well right there. There's a few of the things that crossed my mind that's exciting. Like we found out that Wink Martindale. I don't know how I do that type of stuff all the time, but Wink Martindale actually wrote on the board. The defense said he came in the room and he wrote on their board, "Don't flinch." He wrote, "Don't flinch." And literally they could not flinch. And everybody knows in our previous games, it was literally our defense that quote unquote, we were able to put points on the board, but the defense was not able to stop Patrick Mahomes. And that's a very tall order to try to stop Patrick along with Kelsey or Patrick along with Tyreek. Tyreek was basically taken out of the game. That was some great coverage because, you need to take one of them out because if not, they both are going to run roughshod over you, and that is what has happened. But Tariq was kind of taken out of the game. Did he even have any receptions, Chuck?
He had 3 receptions for 14 yards. That was
14, 3 receptions for 14.
14
Tyreek
yards.
Hill.
Tyreek
So
Hill.
we completely took him out of the game. That was major. The defense did not flinch, and we definitely gave up some plays. And Kelsey still, what are you going to do with Kelsey? That dude is what, 8'9", 369. Like, he's not that, but the dude is like Goliath. So you're not going to do but so much to stop Kelsey, but at least taking.
Well, what they needed to do to stop Kelsey is what they did in the second half of the fourth quarter was stop allowing him to have free run off the line of scrimmage, bump him, hit him, do something, slow his route down. So that worked. That's when Patrick threw that interception because he thought Kelsey was going to be there.
Right.
And Kelsey got bumped at the line by Owe.
Owe.
So he wasn't there. So Owe did things that are not even going to show up on the stats. But man, he was wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to do it later, but you know how at the end of the game, when you're in the locker room and you give away, particularly the Ravens does it. They give the game ball to outstanding player or, position and things like that. And absolutely, it was a team win. Lamar did his thing. The offense did their thing, the defense, but I'm going to have to give the game ball to Owe because he forced both of those interception, or one was an interception and one was the fumble, and he forced both of those, and we needed those, Saints members and friends. We needed those turnovers, especially after having given them 2 turnovers in the first quarter, and so we needed those turnovers. So away. Like, literally, I'm not, y'all think I'm playing, but for real, that's the way I've been saying his name since we drafted him. I've just had a special feeling about him and Odafe Owe. And I've been saying that like literally for months now. Owe. I just think that needs to catch on at the games or something. Yeah, everybody, please remember that. But that dude went out and, people didn't want to draft him because he didn't get a sack in his senior year. But thankfully, our scouting team, along with EDC, Eric DaCosta, they knew what they were looking at. And the dude he was just like one technique away from just wreaking havoc on the offense. And that dude went out there and did his thing. I'm so proud of him. He is a rookie. He's a rookie, ladies and gentlemen. He is a rookie, and he played this well against such a great team in a game like this where there was so much pressure. It was a primetime game. all of this history with us keep losing to the Chiefs, like that was a tall order,
Well,
but he did not flinch.
not only that though, he also did that against a revamped offensive line, which looks really good, by the way.
Yes,
Um,
Lord. I want to get into
especially
that.
especially with our guy over there, but we're not going to talk about that right now. And then the other thing to me that kind of stuck out was, I may have been the only one that saw it this way. I felt like, so you know how they keep saying it was a matchup of Lamar against Patrick Mahomes as opposed to the Ravens against the Chiefs.
Right.
Well, I felt like that Lamar beat Patrick with the stuff that Patrick does, the jump passing,
The
the
jump pass.
sidearm, all of those things that he was doing in that game. Like he kind of beat Patrick Mahomes at his own game. So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know if anybody else paid attention to that, but I thought that was really cool.
Well, Chuck,
Yeah,
what you think about that? Yeah.
I mean, in a sense, he did. He did make some spectacular plays with his arm, and like I told people in the past before, because Chiefs Kingdom, they really don't think Lamar is really like that throwing the ball, and I'm like, Lamar is still a good quarterback. It's just that he's just a little inconsistent outside the numbers. But other than that, the dude is a good quarterback. He's a good passer. Like you just seen it with this game. When he needed to make throws, he made throws. Simple as that. Like our secondary at times, we was looking for the run, and Lamar took advantage of it. And I just want to say this: Hollywood Brown, he's been balling for you guys in his first 2 weeks. He's
Balling.
starting to show out. So, and I told people this too: like, just give Lamar a legit number one wide receiver and see what happens. That's all I want. For some reason, the Ravens can't get him a legit number one. I told people like right before Julio Jones went to the Titans, I said, man, at least give him Julio. Let him have Julio Jones so I can prove my point.
Well,
That's all
I
I
think
want.
we have him. I think we have him, Chuck. He hasn't hit the field yet, but I honestly believe Rashard Bateman is going to be that number one wide receiver. But what you think, Bobby?
I like that kid.
I don't know. I feel like people are really overlooking the receivers that we have. I mean, besides Rashard, the receivers that we already have. They're really because we haven't even got them into the games. Prochet, Duvernay,
Right, right.
Watkins, Boykins. Like we haven't even got those guys into the game. I think Boykins can really be something special, but we don't play him enough to really see what he could be. But I mean, I think people are really overlooking these guys, and I mean, Rashard might be a definite tier one wide receiver, but those guys are not like just lumps of coal. Like those guys can play. They just. The problem is our scheme. Like if you had those same guys and put them with say Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers or Brady or any of those guys or any of those schemes where passing is the major part of the scheme, those guys will show out. They will show up and show out. I really believe that. So um, I don't know that we need a Julio Jones or one of those big name guys. We just need for our scheme in order for a wide receiver to thrive here in Baltimore. Our scheme would have to be different.
I think part of it is scheme. I want to address that real quick because to me, it seems like the way your scheme looks, just from watching a few Ravens games, it looks like mostly a two read scheme, or like after the two reads are not there, Lamar just takes off. Like Lamar's first option is usually like the short passing game, like I guess Marquise run across the middle or whoever receiver is, they run like a little slant or like a little hitch or whatever. If that's not there, then you got Mark Andrews as the other option. And if that's not there, that's when Lamar usually takes off. I mean, that's what I mostly see from the Ravens passing game when I
Right.
watch them.
Yeah,
I
I
get
won't.
it.
I won't. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Bobby.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I'm
I'm
saying
just agreeing.
I will not disagree with that. And I think just him developing that level of comfort with our wide receivers, like I feel like we actually do have some receivers that we can really target now. Like you said, Marquise Brown has been showing us why he is Marquise Brown. that dude has definitely been balling these last two games, and he brought it on the end of the last season actually. But those two already have chemistry. You can see where he's developing that chemistry with Sammy Watkins for sure, for sure. And then that one interception I don't even actually count because it was obviously going to Sammy, but Sammy slipped, and so that's why Matthew was able to Tyrann Matthew was able to get that interception, but you can't even really count that one because Sammy was right there. He slipped, and Lamar released the ball when he was supposed to release it, but they, but Tyron Honey Badger managed to go ahead and get it, but that wasn't even his fault, but meaning Lamar's fault. But yeah, honestly, I think he hasn't even been on a field with all of our receivers yet this year because of what has happened with him being out for COVID, and then we're different players sustaining injuries and all that. He hasn't even had a chance to really be on the field with all of our wide receiving core. So I agree with you, Bobby. I am definitely looking for some things from Prochet, because if that dude does not remind me of Anquan Bolden, which really is what I thought Boykin was going to be, and maybe he could be, but Prochet has actually already shown me that, at least from camp and preseason, that he will fight you for the ball. And I mean, he has that attitude. I don't want him to get any taunting penalties or anything when we start hitting him, but because those taunting penalties, I can't
Man,
stand
can we
those.
talk about that?
Well,
Can we talk about that for a second? I
he
want to talk about
reminds
that
me.
real quick.
Wait, one thing about Crochet, real quick. He reminds me more of Steve,
Steve Smith.
more Steve Smith more than Anquan. That attitude, that shiftiness. I don't know that he's as strong as Steve was, but that attitude, that shiftiness. But I think Boykin would be a very important piece for us if we could get him out there because he's a big guy. And with the style of offense we run, I think a big guy would be a good thing out there for somebody other than Mark Andrews. That's he's not as big as Mark Andrews, but he's as tall as Mark Andrews. And I think a big guy would fit in our offense real good if they put him out there and give him some plays because he's that guy. You throw the ball up to him. He's bigger than most of the defenders, so he can go up and get it. And I think that would help a lot in our scheme. But go ahead, Bad Luck.
Yeah, but yeah, I like Prochet. Coming out of college, he was like a polished route runner at SMU. I like the pick. It's just that Greg Roman, like, he sticks to what he knows. Like, he hardly ever switches things up. I mean, I think Prochet would get out there more if y'all ran like empty more often. But besides that, man, I want to get to the time stuff. The time penalties, man, it's getting ridiculous. Like, you taking away the essence of the game. Like, these dudes, I mean, excuse my language, these dudes work their ass off to get to this level. And, like, when they make a great play, it's natural for them to celebrate or
Right.
talk stuff. It's the nature of the game, man. You trying to strip that away, like, and that's the issue with sports today, man. You stripping away little essences of the game, little by little, man. Y'all want all these dudes to turn to robots, man. What fun is that? I just had to get
I
that
mean,
out.
I could go deeper into that because I think that some of it is kind of based on who the people that celebrate the most are. But I agree with that. My take is this about football. If you don't want me to celebrate, if you don't want me to taunt, stop me from doing what I'm doing so I won't have a reason to talk.
That's what Cam said.
That's all it is. That's what football is. If I score a touchdown on you, especially how intense DBs and wide receivers are going at it nowadays, because the game is mostly about passing, not us, but mostly about passing. Like if I score on you, and I'm a taunt because I've worked hard to do that. Or if I get an interception, I'm a taunt because I worked hard to do that. If you don't want me to taunt, don't let me get the interception. Don't let me
Right.
score a touchdown. It's just that simple to me. But I still think it's rooted in the fact that, and I'm just going to say it's rooted in the fact that Black people in sports, we do that. That's what we do. We taunt. We celebrate hard. We do that, and I think it was aimed at that. Like I have no evidence, of that fact, but I truly believe that it was kind of aimed that way.
And I'm not going to say that I actually disagree with you on that. It harkens back to the time when they, banned them actually celebrating in the end zone. Period. It's like, wait, what? What are you talking about? Like, that's for us, the fans. It's not for y'all. It's for the fans. We want to see them celebrate. I like to see some attitude on the field. And when you say taunting, like for real, like if the man is down on the ground, like I'll tell you this: if the man is down on the ground and you standing over him, doing so, I'm just saying I can almost see that type of taunting when they're down on the ground and you're standing right over them and doing something, and I can see that. But we're both upright, and I'm just talking trash or saying something and pointing or doing or giving you the mug face, crossing my arms. I'm just like, these are grown men playing a brutal sport, brutal sport. Grown men, and you're going to throw a penalty because I'm celebrating because I just scored on you. Like, it is absolutely. It's a sidebar in this, but I agree with both of you on that. I think that's crazy. Like, I like to see that attitude. What's wrong with that? That's a hard job that they're doing out there. Like you said, and it's a lot of work, and so yeah, they need to fall. I don't know. It's like they find some reason or some way to take the fun out of everything. I don't know
I
why
mean,
that is.
you go out there. I want to see these people who come up with these rules go out there and have the impact of like getting hit by a car every 5 minutes.
Right.
And not want to celebrate when they do something. And then also the people who I feel like the people who come up with this are the same people who started participation trophies. Like that same group of people came up with these ideas like, well, they played, just let them get a trophy. No, you lost, you lost. Period. That's it. And if you don't want me to celebrate, then take away the reason why I'm celebrating. Just as simple as that. Period.
Yeah. So, and we're talking about the NFL right now. We're not passing any judgment on any kitty leagues or anything
Right,
like
right, right,
that.
right,
We're
right,
just
right,
talking
right.
about the NFL. So
Yeah.
yeah, these are grown men. So go ahead. So yeah. So back to the Chiefs and the Ravens and away, away. I'm just gonna say that as many times as I can. I love it. It needs to catch on. I'm gonna have to tweet him this. But yeah, so honestly, if you are a football fan, that was a great game. Even if you were not a Chiefs fan or a Ravens fan, it was a great game. It was exciting. It was back and forth. It was like, oh my goodness, how's this going to come down? And it reminded me, like I told, I was on the No Pro Football show podcast recently, and we knew we had the Ravens coming up, and I was like, I've been thinking so hard, like, what is the key to beating Patrick, and the Chiefs? Like, what is the key? And to me, the Ravens kind of did exactly what, at least from a short analysis that I said. And I was like, honestly, you win or lose in the last 2 minutes of the game against Patrick. And I'm assuming that you have been, trying to keep up with them score for score. You're not too far behind. You win or lose in the last 2 minutes. If you make a mistake, a turnover, or something in the last 2 minutes, you're gone. If you let Patrick get out there in that last 2 minutes and stay on the field for a while, you're gone. Um, to me, one of the key things is obviously time of possession, and the Ravens actually beat on time of possession. I believe we had 34 minutes or so, and you guys had 26, something like that. So we beat in time of possession. That's huge, especially when playing against the Chiefs. Time of possession is huge, and
Well, we had the ball 36 and they had the ball 24.
Oh, okay, 36-24. Okay, yeah. So that was a big sign right there. Definitely the turnovers. If you think about it, if Lamar had not thrown those, well, one of them didn't count really, but if he had not thrown those two interceptions, like, where would the score have been technically? You know what I'm saying? Because one of those, they were that was a defensive touchdown. And so it's just like, would the score really would have, been a little different? Could have been a little higher, the margin. And then those last 2 minutes, when they got on the field, it was like, oh no, guys, they're on the field. We're down to the minute and something. We got to get a turnover. If we did not get that turnover, I just don't see where we would have. Like literally, I'm sitting here thinking like Doctor Strange. I'm looking at 14,100,000 and something ways that we come out and win this game, and believe you me, that I only saw one. Just like Doctor Strange said, I only saw one, and that was getting them off the field, getting a turnover. And I was just like, we got to get a turnover. Right here, we got to get a turnover. And when away, when he knocked that ball out of CEH's and that thing went to the ground, like, and then we saw away actually recovered the fumble. It was like we lost our ever loving minds. Like I saw the clip. William, did you or Bobby, did you see the clip from the Ravens put out today? They put out the clip of that scene when we recovered the ball and all the fans going wild. And then when we won, like,
Okay. I
yeah,
didn't
it
watch
was.
it.
I watched it I've watched it like 4 or 5 times. I get chills. I almost get teary eyed. So, but it was honestly, it was a great game, and nobody had us winning. Nobody didn't give us a chance. Everybody thought it was going to be a blowout. I think the Chiefs actually thought it was probably going to be a blowout based off of how we had played the Raiders, the previous week and with all the injuries. So, but it was just really good football. At the end of the day, you want to see really good football. But so Chuck,
Let me.
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask Chuck something because I don't keep up with the Chiefs like stats or anything. But I'm looking at the stats from ours. So we held the Chiefs to 62 rushing yards. They did have 343 passing yards, but they had two really long plays that game. So if you took those away, that would look way different. Um, they had 22 first downs. We had 31. They were 1 for 6 on third down in that game. Again, they didn't score in the fourth quarter at all. That's like, I would think that's very unusual for the Chiefs, right? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, you're right. And I'm starting to notice a trend as far as like teams going against us now. Like ever since the Super Bowl happened, all these teams want to incorporate, the cover two deep defense. Take away Tyreek. Put a safety over the top. May have Patrick stay in the pocket. Don't have him roll out too much. Force him to make throws from the pocket more often. And like it's just funny to me because like people act like we really can't beat that defense, but you guys did a good job of taking away Tyreek because when you play against us, you got to pick your poison as far as who you want to take away.
Right.
And in the end, when you guys buckled down the fourth quarter and made even more key adjustments as far as slowing us down even more, it worked. And I will say this: what I would like Patrick to do more often moving forward is continue to work on making more throws from the pocket. And it looks like he has reduced trying to, be mobile and stuff. But there will be a time where teams are going to continue to try to make throws in the tight windows, and you got to be able to make those throws. Not saying Patrick can't do it because he's done it before, but
he
you
could
don't see
definitely
it
do
too
that.
often.
Right.
Because Andy Reid knows how to dial it up and scheme and get guys, that separation. So, and moving forward as well, I would like them to incorporate Byron Pringle more often in the offense too. Because to me, he's the third best route runner on the team. Besides Tyreek and Kelsey, he gets open better than Hardman. He gets open better than Robinson, in my opinion. Not saying Robinson and Hardman didn't show up, but Pringle definitely needs a higher snap count moving forward in his offense.
Okay.
Well, he had 2 catches, but it was for 63 yards. Like the guy had 30-something yards on each catch, so he definitely obviously caught us by surprise or something. But he just basically took the spot that Watkins had in their offense. But they just had so many people that they could throw. How many people did they say Patrick threw the ball to? It was like 8, 9 different people he threw the ball to.
Yeah, 9 different receivers.
That is ridiculous.
Right.
Who has 9 people to throw the ball to? Like nobody but the team. Maybe the
Tampa
maybe
Bay.
the Bucks. Yeah, maybe the Bucks. That's about it. But wow, 9 different people. Come on, man.
Yeah, he knows how to spread it around, man. He definitely knows how to spread it around. And like Clyde, man, Clyde's gonna be all right moving forward, man. It just
Oh yeah,
He
unfortunate
is.
circumstances, you know.
But
yeah.
Chuck, I did not get when I was on your live after the game, the haterade that was coming in for CEH. I was like, I mean, everybody has a
Oh, people were hating
everybody.
on Clyde.
Yeah,
Oh
man, it was
yeah, the
bad.
fans, they were
I didn't,
basically
I didn't, I
saying he
didn't see
was
it.
trash, and for the round pick,
Wow.
he was he a first round pick?
Yeah, his first round
He
pick.
hadn't panned out being
For
the first
one
round pick.
fumble, that was his
Yeah,
first
man.
fumble in his career.
Yeah, it was that bad, Bobby. Really was that bad. I'm like, that's the first time he's ever fumbled in this league. And like I said in the week one, he did miss some cutback lanes. I felt like in this game he was a little better to me as far as running the ball when he did get opportunity. It's just that some people thought Andy Reid went conservative. Some people was like Andy made the right call, and like I'm not harping on the call either way. He just fumbled the ball. It happens. It's part of the
Right.
game.
The
It's
ball
part of
got
the game.
knocked out of his hand. I mean, right, exactly. That's the fun. I can't believe they were hating on him like that, though. That dude is good.
Yeah.
That dude is good. He's really good.
And we're year two, man. We're year two.
Right.
Year two just started for him.
Right,
He's,
because he got hurt last year.
I was going to say he's coming off of an injury, for one. And then two, like he's got to get his stride back. Once he get, I mean, he played good without having his stride back, but once he gets his stride back, he's gonna be right back to where he was, just looking like a little bitty Barry Sanders out there or something like. But I mean, yeah, I can't believe. Wow, I didn't know about them hating on him like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
at least the people that were on the Kingdom cast, I was like, wait, what? Are y'all serious right now? Yeah, I couldn't believe it. We still drafting that. Everybody still drafted him, like, in
Yeah,
fantasy
'cause
and everything.
the dude is good. That's why.
That's a good question. So and we're going to move on. I want to talk about some of the other games before we tie this up. But who on your do you all well, I know you draft people, Chuck, from your team because it's the Chiefs. So who do you definitely try to get from the Chiefs? And also if you do IDP, any IDP players?
Easy.
I
You thought
still
of
have
me
yet
or
to.
No,
I still have yet
Chuck.
to do it. I still have yet to do an IDP league. I mean, that's not my lane. I mean, maybe
Okay.
one day. But as far as the Chiefs player I drafted this year, it was tough, man. It was tough to even get Chiefs players just based on the
Right.
draft position I was in. But I was able to get Tyreek on one team. I mean, that's the
Okay.
only player I got as far as the Chiefs this year.
Yeah, because if you're not in the top like 2 or 3, you're not going to get Patrick Mahomes. Now it depends on what kind of league you're in, because in some of these other leagues on fantasy, they're not drafting quarterbacks till like 5th and 6th round. I'm just like, that's not in the leagues that I play in. It doesn't work out like that most of the time. But what about you? Were you able to get any Chiefs player, or is there anybody you went after even if you didn't get him, Bobby?
Absolutely. I got Patrick Mahomes on a couple of teams. I try to get Travis Kelsey on every team, but I feel like if you have a team, a fantasy football team, and you have the combination of Travis Kelsey and Mark Andrews, you're gonna win. You're gonna win. I don't have that combination on one team, but I do have both of them. But Travis Kelsey is I think I heard that I think you told me he's the most
He gets the
drafted
most
player in
points.
fantasy. Yeah.
Right, he gets the most points every year, hands down. Kelsey, Travis Kelsey earns the most points in fantasy out of
Yeah,
everybody.
so that's the obvious thing. That if you go beyond Mahomes and Tyreek and Patrick, Clyde would be the next person in my mind. To me, Clyde would be that next person. So, and I'm expecting him to have some serious breakout games this year. Although the Chiefs do have a tougher schedule this year than normal, so we're going to see how that works out. But and I mean, for one, they're playing our entire division, so I don't think that any of those games are going to be blowouts. Well, they already beat the Browns, but that was
The Browns gave that game away,
yeah, they
kind of, sort of. I don't know. What's your take
that
on
was
that,
that was
Chuck?
a
Would you
that was
say
a
the
weird
Browns
game.
gave that game away, or y'all were going to lock that down regardless?
Um, Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing with some NFL teams. Like, I get that you want certain players to succeed just because it's like their contract year. Like, you want them to be successful because they be in all these commercials, they got all these endorsements and everything. And that was the case with Baker Mayfield. Like, at the
shame.
end of the day, their biggest strength was running the ball, and we couldn't stop the run then. Nick Chubb, their offensive line was dominating us, and they went away from it in the second half. And really, the momentum really switches when the punter dropped that punt, and then that's when the momentum really got in hand. And I think they kind of panicked after that. And and at the end they try to put the game in Baker's hands, and it didn't work out. And I feel
Didn't
like
work
Baker
out.
is a good
But
quarterback,
that
but he's not there yet as far as being able to trust them down the stretch to win a game in those situations.
I disagree with that, but I do think they definitely needed to play to their strength, which is running the ball, because they definitely can run the ball. Like they run the ball on everybody. It doesn't even matter how good of a defense you are. They run the ball on every. I mean, we do too, but they run the ball on everybody. It doesn't. It really doesn't even matter. And they should have done that a lot because no offense, but the Chiefs are not very good stopping the run.
We're not.
And I don't know, they should have learned that from the Ravens. And the 3 times that we lost against you guys because we abandoned the run. Like why? Why when they can't stop it? And I was screaming at the TV like, run the ball, just run the ball. They can't stop it. Run the ball. So yeah, when I saw them running the ball, I was like, okay, we did not make the mistake that we did in the other years, particularly in the fourth quarter, and tried to start passing the ball instead of running the ball and then going 3 and out, and then our defense being exhausted because they're spending too much time on the field, and then Tyreek and Kelsey just burning us up. So yeah,
I think we probably would have ran it more this game if we had our running back. That is just the. I've been watching football for a long time, and I've
right.
never seen a team lose all 3 of their top running backs before the season even started.
Before it even started.
Or
Yeah,
just
really
period in the season, but definitely not before the season even started. Like that is, I've never heard of that before. Never.
But I definitely want to give credit to Tyson Williams, Latavius Murray, Devonta Freeman.
Murray.
Like those dudes are coming in getting it done. I mean, and that's why I was like, these dudes are running 7, 8, 9 yards a pop. They're getting first downs almost every time they're out there running. I'm like, let them boys run. Let them run. Let them run. So, I was super happy about how they are performing. I mean, these dudes literally Tyson Williams was here doing camp. Obviously, he was on our practice squad last year. But this is just his second year and his first time on the 53. He was on the practice squad. And that's with us just signing Devonta Freeman and Latavius Murray, like literally just before the season started, just before the Ravens had to play. Like, I got to give those guys credit. So I'm like,
Tyson Williams averaged 5.9 yards a carry. 5.9 yards a carry. He carried the ball 13 times, but 5.9. That's unheard of. Even for a bad defense, that's unheard of for a running back to average 5.9, and it had more than 10 carries. Like, wow, that's crazy. And Lamar averaged 6.7 yards a carry. But I mean, that's Lamar, though. So
right.
I don't even hold that against defenses because that's just a really special dude. I'm not saying that because he's a quarterback. I'm just like, that's a really special athlete right there.
Yeah,
I would even hold that against the Chiefs. But you let Tyson Williams, a second-year running back, average 5.9 yards. Wow, that's serious. With a makeshift offensive line on top of that.
Oh, we never did hit that. Let's talk about, because I spoke badly. I did. In a No Pro Football show, I spoke badly about Alejandro Villanueva. I did. From that, when he was on that right side, I was looking for that. I wanted him to go in at halftime and wave him. But moving him back to his natural position, left tackle, it was a world of difference. And he handled Chris Jones. Poor Chris Jones. He handled Chris Jones.
I feel bad for Chris Jones because Chris Jones was in a new position, and he really did look lost out there. Like there are certain plays, if you go back and watch the game, there are certain plays where the ball was hyped, and he's just standing there looking to both sides, not knowing where to go or what to do. Like literally, that's what he was doing. I feel bad for him because he just, it's the second game he got thrown in that position, so he'll be better. He'll be better as the year goes on.
Yeah, with Chris Jones, like against the RPOs, man, like that takes away his aggressiveness. We put him out on the defensive end, and that's not where you want Chris Jones at against that type of running style. You know what I mean, or against that
Right.
type of offense in general. So I mean, next time we just need to have him on the inside. You know what I mean? Because he's not built to play on the edge against the RPO or
Do you, do you think they're going to actually switch him back, or are they going to leave him there? You think?
I think they're gonna still play them some in, but moving forward, they just have to be cognizant of the matchups. You know what I mean? As far as like the offenses they go against when before, having them play on the edge as much as they did. So
Yeah, and I think, our O-line looked like trash the previous game. So it might not, if we had not made these adjustments, he might have been a little more successful. But with us making the adjustments that we did, and thank God we did, by well, unfortunately that happened because Stanley, his ankle was still bothering him. So, he wasn't playing. So we moved Villanueva over to his natural position and put Makari, our backup, there. And that backup did great. He did great. So yeah, that O line also made a big difference as to why we were as successful. I mean, Lamar actually did have time to throw the ball when he wanted to throw the ball. They did a good job. I mean, I think you guys bust through a couple times, but yeah, the O line held it down. Oh, Big Country, the Big Country was out there. And so yeah, so thank God for that. Because what do I always say? Everything begins at the line of scrimmage. Like if my O line is messed up, it's upsetting for me. It is upsetting for me because everything starts right there. So any last thoughts on that Chiefs Ravens game?
you know what the frustrating part about the Chiefs right now? We have spent the second most money out of any team in the NFL on defense. And we are the worst red zone defense
Did
and the
not know
worst
that.
run defense in the league. That's not a good recipe. We can't
Wow.
depend on Patrick to save us. We can't depend on these games to be close and have him save us every time. That
Well, I
defense needs to
mean,
get together, man. You got teams like the Patriots, Bills, and Broncos. They solid. They top four and spend the most money on their defense, and they look way better than what we are right now.
well, a lot of that money go to Tyrann Matthew too. You got to think about that.
Well, yeah, as soon as we get Frank Clark off the books, yeah, we'll get it done.
So okay, well, I mean, honestly, it was a great game. I just want to say for the last time, away, away. And I'm just still grinning from that. So yeah, we are celebrating. People teasing like, y'all think y'all won the Super Bowl? Not yet. We will be, but it was a great game, and we were glad to get past that. So we can look forward
So
to
wait,
some
real,
other
real
games.
quick, one
Right.
last question because I might not be on the podcast with him again. Do you think you guys are going back to the Super Bowl this year?
I think we can, but defense need to get it together, man, because otherwise we can't be beat the way this defense is playing. So,
And you guys still have to play the Steelers,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they got Najee. And then you still have to play the Bengals. And and the Bengals, who's the running backs on the Bengals?
oh well, Joe
Mixon,
Mixon.
Joe
Joe
Mixon.
Mixon is nice.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you got Eckler coming next week. So, what do you guys? How you think you guys going to fare with that?
man, look, if I'm the Chargers, I'm making sure I'm getting Eckler involved as much as possible until we prove that we can stop it, man. Because we look slow as heck out there right now, man. Like we looking kind of stiff, especially that linebacker core, man. We look really stiff out there right now. That's something we really have to address in the offseason.
Well, your defense is a little better against the Chargers because their offensive line is ours is kind of on the fritz too though, but their offensive line is kind of on the fritz right now. So you might do better against the Chargers.
Maybe we'll see, man. Because I know Rashawn Slater, he's looking pretty generational with that left tackle.
Oh yes,
So
Yeah.
Rashad Slater. Oh,
Yeah.
that dude is a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude is a beast. Yeah, because he actually shut down Chase. He shut down
Yeah.
Chase.
Yeah. But the right side though,
Yeah.
there's two sides to offensive line.
Right. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. That should be a good game. All
That's
right,
going
so
to be a
let's
good game.
let's hit a couple of these teams. We got about 10 or so minutes. I just want to hit a couple of these games. And we can kind of combine this because it might all still be the same kind of general idea. I think from some of these games that played out, we've had 2 great weeks of football, guys. It has been 2 great weeks of football. Like it's been some good games, but one that got me, that whole Titans Seahawks game,
Mm.
like I wasn't expecting that. And it's I expected the Titans were not going to play like they did the first week. Now we knew they were going to come back, but they came back on the Seahawks. Like, what are y'all thoughts on that one?
Well, I feel like they just in the second half they started doing what they're supposed to do as a team, and they started handing the ball off and letting that offensive line create huge holes for Henry. That's what they did in the second half, and that's how they came back in that game. But on the flip side, what in the world was the Seahawks defense thinking? Like they just looked like they were just I don't know if they were tired or they were just not expecting them to run Derrick Henry. Like why would you not expect them to run Derrick Henry? I don't. I'm not sure what the Seahawks were doing there, like at all.
Yeah, and like offensively, even offensively, like the Seahawks, they dropped some key, third downs, and like everything just snowballed from there because the Titans they was looking like how they was in week 1. But like you mentioned, Bobby, they finally started giving that ball to that beast in the backfield, number 22, Derrick Henry. And slowly but surely, they started to chip away and they started to wear down Seattle's defense a bit. But like with the Seattle, man, we don't see this a couple times now in the past few years with Seattle because we normally used to seeing Russell Wilson come up in the clutch, you know what I mean, and close the
Right.
games. But overall, as a team, they looking lackluster in that area, man. Like I don't get it. I don't get it with Seattle. They've been doing this quite often, ever since they lost the Super Bowl. So
I, it seems like they have this that'll be enough type of attitude. Like sort of offense, we have a mobile quarterback in Russell, so we don't need an offensive line really. We don't really need a good offensive line. We'll just let Russ cook, as they say, and that's not working. That's not working. It'll work for a while, but then like when you get near the end of the season, they start losing games all the time because that's not working anymore. And then on the defensive side, it seems like they're just like, oh well, we have Bobby Wagner, we have Jamal out there, so we're good, we're good. No, it takes a lot more than that to win these games, and especially to close the games out in the second half of the fourth quarter. But it seems like they just don't bother to fix these things. They just let's just go with what we have, and that's not working for them, and that's why I keep saying that they're not going to be because somebody on this podcast is a big fan of the Seahawks.
Huh.
And I always tell them that they're just not going to do it. They're not going to do it because they won't address the things they need to address.
I
yep.
mean, I don't disagree with what you guys are saying there. And let's qualify big fan. Like I'm a big fan of the Ravens. This like that's the fanatic side. But as far as the NFC, teams, I definitely like the Seahawks. I feel like the Seahawks are almost like the Ravens, the NFC Ravens kind of in times no, I'm saying in time. I don't need you to shake your head. This is how I feel about the Seahawks. So I'm just, but I like the Seahawks. So I'm talking about back when they had the Legion of Doom and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
I felt like our teams were like kind of evenly matched. But back then, back in the heyday. But yeah, so I'm trying to figure out was it just that the Titans just were able to finally put together and do what we thought they were going to do for this season, or is this indeed an indictment on the Seahawks and it's going to be a struggle? So I don't
I,
know. I would love to see my man Russell in the playoffs and possibly in the Super Bowl, but I guess we'll have to see these next several games.
it was
Yeah,
the
I can't
Seahawks.
see.
It wasn't the Titans. It was the Seahawks.
It was
Yeah,
a
I can't see the Seahawks. I don't know. I don't think they're a playoff team, honestly. Like Bobby
Not
just
really.
hit on it. The past few years we've been asking for Seattle. Look, get your quarterback an offensive line.
right,
Otherwise, you're not gonna make it. And that's part
right,
of the reason. That's part of the reason why Russell Wilson be tailing off in the second half of the season because the dude is constantly having to be Houdini and make
right.
plays out of nowhere, and that's only gonna work for so long. And he mentioned the defense too. Like Virginia, you mentioned about the Legion of Boom. Like this is not the same. This is not the same.
Not at all.
And I don't understand the Jamal Adams contract. I think that was a bad idea because Jamal Adams really, he's an undersized defensive end. Because like if you have, because every year if you watch like all day NFC West games, and he's going against guys like George Kittle or Tyler Higbee, guys like that. He can't cover tight ends. If you get him out, if you get him one-on-one against a tight end, he's cooked.
He can't cover anybody.
Yeah, he can't cover anybody. So
He's good against the run, and he's good
right,
at blitzing, and he's a hard hitter, and he
right,
works hard. I'm not taking anything away from him. The dude works hard,
right.
but he's not a good coverage guy at all.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, that's all my points on Seattle. So I can't see them being a playoff team this year.
All right, I'm not going to give up on him yet, but we'll see in these next several games. We'll see. So let's jump over to the Rams and Colts. Like, yo, I thought that this might have been. I'm not saying the Colts are a bad team, but I know they're struggling as far as the QB is concerned. This dude can't even stay on the field. And the Rams are supposed to be don't say anything, William, but like what Bobby, one of the top 3 like teams in the NFC, the Rams, and in some rankings they were voted as the number 1, or they might trade off with Tampa Bay, might trade off with 49ers, stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, this might be a smash. It was not. And the Rams only beat that 27-24, like 3 points. So is this an indictment on the Rams? Or was this like the Colts are better than what we thinking they were, especially heading into the season with so many injuries?
Well, I think that the Rams are not what everybody are making
I knew
them
he was
out
going
to
to go
be.
there.
Absolutely. I don't. So the Rams fit the same bill as the Seahawks to me, just with a better offensive line.
Better
But
defense.
but no, I know they have 2 pieces, just like the Seahawks have 2 pieces. They have number 99 on the line, and they have Jalen Ramsey as the defensive back. I don't see a whole bunch of other great defensive players on their team, or how their defensive scheme is so much better than everybody else's. But we'll find out because they play the Bucks this week, so we're going to see exactly what's going on with them. But I don't see them. Everybody's picking them. They could make it to the Super Bowl, or they'll give the Bucks the most trouble this year. I don't see that in them. I don't see that in them at all. First of all, as great as 99 is, I've seen him be taken out of games.
Right.
I see
We've done it.
year before last, whatever it was,
Yeah, it
when
was
they played the
2019.
AFC. Yeah, when they played the AFC North, he did nothing to nobody in the AFC North. Nothing. I don't even think I think he had 2 sacks against the AFC North, one against Pittsburgh, and I think one against the Bengals. And I think that was almost it. Like that, he doesn't. He can get taken out of games. You either do what we did and let him just come on in the backfield, but when you get there, nobody's there, or double him. And most of the time when you double him, he's done. Or for us, when he was at the end, Ronnie Stanley, he was handling him. And then Jalen Ramsey, you just don't throw to the man. He's sticking. That's all. That's how you fix that. You just don't throw to the man that he's sticking. So, I mean, I don't see them. And I mean, that gives the Rams a little bit of advantage on defense because no matter what they play on defense, Ramsey can go man to man with whoever he's sticking, and you can play zone with everybody else. That helps out a lot. But I don't see them. I don't see them really doing a whole lot. I really don't.
Well, Bobby, I mean, you hit on some great points there. I want to address the Rams first. I'm glad you said what you said about Aaron Donald because Aaron Donald is a great player. Don't get me wrong. He's arguably the best defensive player in the league still. But you have, like you mentioned, he can't get taken out of games. And heck, we seen it in the Super Bowl when they played the Patriots a few years ago that the Patriots did a nice job of taking him out the game. I ain't really hear his name all night. So that's a good point right there. But like you said, individually, you got Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. They great in their own right. And they was generational this game. But if either one of those guys get hurt, I think the Rams are cooked. You know what I mean? Because you got to have both of those guys out there. Like you said, I really don't see any other individuals, stepping up and making an impact like that. But I will give the Rams credit in this matter. They red zone defense was pretty solid. You gotta give them that. When they was inside the 5, the coach was having a hard time punching it in. They was
Right.
able to
Right. They
make goal
couldn't.
line stands. But offensively, Stafford and Cup, they got a good thing going on already because like they was just shredding the heck out of this cover 2 scheme, man. Like it was that easy for Cooper Cup to find spots in that cover 2 and make big plays. And also, Stafford, he's done this quite often against cover 2 anyway. If you go back to his Detroit Lions days, he checks down to the running back quite often, and he took advantage of that as well. Darrell Henderson, he had a nice solid game as well. So, the Rams offense, I think they'll be all right. Lost Cam Akers is a little tough, but I think they'll survive. I don't know the extent of Darrell Henderson's injury or anything, but I think they'll be all right. But like Bobby said, at the end of the day, I don't think they have enough either. I think they need to add a little more to that defense because you just can't depend on Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald every game like that. And as far as the coach is concerned, if there's one team out of these 0-2 teams in the NFL right now that can make a run in the playoffs, it's the Colts. Now, granted, yes, Carson Wentz, he got hurt again. But if you look at the entire makeup of that team overall, they can compete in these games, man. They can give some teams some problems still. You just gotta be able to manage the game well if you gotta roll with Jacob Eason. You know what I mean? You just gotta game plan it well. You gotta give Jonathan Taylor the rock some. You gotta get Nyheim Hines involved. Just make the game as easy as possible for Eason, so he wants to be a hero. And that's all I got from my perspective in this game.
Well, the other part is Carson Wentz and Matthew Stafford played, to me, almost even. Matthew Stafford was 19 of 30, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Carson Wentz was 20 of 31, 247 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So Wentz didn't actually do that bad. He just got hurt. That's something they're definitely going to have to address. Or actually, we don't know what Jacob Eason can do. So we'll have to wait.
He jumped out there and threw an interception on his first throw. We saw that.
I mean, yeah, but that's like welcome to the NFL. That's all that was. Like welcome to the that's what it's going. And once he got that out of the system, I mean, he was 2 for 5 for 25 yards. He didn't really do it. He didn't get a chance to really do anything.
Right,
but
it was late in the game.
Right.
You asking the young man to drive down the field and win you a game in that situation, getting thrown in the fire like that. Like, I'm not going to harp on him for that.
There's very few people that are backups or that are young.
I mean, Heineke did it last year.
Yeah, but Heineke was groomed better than I don't know anything about Jacob Eason, so I can't even say that. But
yeah, but Heineke got the start from got like a start to finish type of deal. Eason got thrown there late in the fourth quarter where he go down the field and win the game. But I kind of wish they had Ellinger really, because Ellinger was balling for the Colts in the preseason until he got hurt. But we'll see how the Colts adjust and moving forward. But that
I'm sorry. Yeah, you said butt, dude. They got all this. Both of you guys name all these great things, but the butt is a big butt. When your QB is lacking or is not there or is hurt, or that's a big butt. Like,
well,
I don't know.
The Colts lost that game because they didn't run the ball enough to me. That was my opinion. That's just my opinion. I mean, they ran the ball. Like, what's that, 26 times, but that's not enough. That's not enough when you got Jonathan Taylor back there and Marlon back and Nyheim Hines. You can run the ball more than that. Especially if Carson Wentz is your quarterback. No shade to Carson Wentz, but the more they run, the less he'll be getting hurt.
I'm with that. Because, people forget, it's turned to more the passing league now, but running backs still matter in this league, man. I think some people have lost sight of that. Running backs do matter, and you're going to need them, especially in the playoffs.
Yep. So we'll see. I was actually high on the Colts coming into this season. Then, of course, they had the injury to Carson Wentz and to their left guard. I forget his name. They got the same injury. Huh? Yeah. And then they came back.
And they got
Right. So he's back. Wentz is back. But now they're saying both his ankles are sprained.
Yeah.
Right.
Glass. So I'm
So
just trying to. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. But I was really high on the Colts. But I mean, as hard as they played the Rams, I was like, okay, they still got something in the tank. So it'll be interesting to see, what goes on with them. Then I want to hit this one last team before we end it all. And you guys
And
will
then
know.
can I ask one last question about the coach?
Oh yeah.
So if Wentz is out for a long period of time or maybe the rest of the year,
They're not going to
um,
call him.
who? No, I'm not gonna say Cam.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say I was trying to think of his name. The guy that's like the third string for the Bears right now. He used to play for the
Nick
Foles.
Eagles.
Foles.
Nick
Nick
Foles,
Um,
Foles.
yeah.
Do you think they should try to bring Nick Foles? Nick Foles definitely wants to be there. We saw that with the interview he had,
Right.
where he was practically begging them to. I'm just sitting here with these third string people. That was hilarious. But
It was.
do you think that he did have his best play under Wright? So right. So do you think they should bring him in if now you know that's going to like just destroy Witt if they bring him in mentally? I mean, so
it
do
wouldn't
you think
shock
they
me.
should bring?
It wouldn't shock me if they went that route, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see about that.
If they want to save the season, they'll go ahead and consider it. I just don't know that they have anything now because they literally gave the farm, the house, the mansion, everything away to get Wentz. So I'm not sure. I don't know what they have as far as cap space. I
If
don't
if
know.
if they call Foles, if Wright calls Foles and says, "I want you to play for me," he will literally quit the Bears and come play for him for like the league minimum.
Right.
I'm sure of it.
Yep. And
That'll be
side note,
interesting.
I got a side note here.
Okay.
Zach Pascal, he scored 7 touchdowns in his last 6 games. So yeah, be on the lookout for that guy. He's starting to come along.
He's good. I thought he was good from the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So this one last team, this one last game I want to get into for obvious reasons, and that's that Raiders and Steelers
Yeah.
game. So I just, I'm just gonna have to say something about this because Steelers fans, you guys gave us grief when we lost to the Raiders. And we lost to the Raiders in overtime by 6 points with injuries galore. And you guys play them the following week and you lose to them in regulation by 9 points. And yes, you had a few injuries, but you told us, oh, no excuses, no excuses, next man up. So what had happened? What had happened with this Raiders Steelers game? So you guys, go ahead. You can go first, Bobby, on this one. Give me a take on that.
Um, really, the only thing I can say about it is that the Raiders are for real. Now, here's another thing too, though. They did play two teams who are really good teams, but also have really struggling offensive lines right now. Because the Steelers' offensive line is struggling right now also. So we'll have to see what happens when they go up, and that can't even be an excuse because you play who you have to play. So next man up is just not what it is. Next man up, but they're for real. I guess they're just for real this year. That's all. Because I thought that schedule was a setup to have to play the Ravens and the Steelers back to back like that, but they proved that they could do it. So right now, I mean, it's a short sample size, only 2 games in. They could be the best team in that division, in their division right now. No offense, no offense, no offense.
It's all good, Bobby. I get it, man. I'll say this about the Raiders, man. Getting Gus Bradley as a defense coordinator was big for them. Everywhere Gus Bradley has been, he's had defenses up there near the top everywhere he's gone. And right now, the Raiders, they playing solid defense as a unit overall. Just even with the talent they do have, like I feel like Gus Bradley didn't have all the pieces yet for his scheme, but that doesn't seem to matter right now. They look pretty solid in that area so far. And offensively, man, Derek Carr, he's starting to kind of look like the guy that was an MVP candidate a few years ago before he got injured. He's
Right.
kind of starting to get back to that mode. And as far as like the Steelers are concerned, I'll be glad when Ben Roethlisberger hangs it up, man. I feel like Ben should have hung it up 2 years ago, honestly. Like that arm is cooked. I'm sorry, it's cooked, man. Like you can't depend on Ben to win you games like that anymore. And like you mentioned, Bobby, their offensive line is kind of struggling. Like there were some good, but Najee had some good runs, but there was times where he was easily got stopped in the backfield because the Steelers' offensive line is not getting that push like how they used to. But the one standout in the offensive line right now is that rookie Kendrick Green from Illinois. You know, he's playing pretty well. But other than that, man, just as a unit, man, they don't look good as a unit. I still think the Steelers can contend in the AFC North, but it's Ben gonna last the entire year. And is it really worth it to have Ben out there for the long stretch? So,
Well, they're going to have to start running the ball more because when things start going wrong for the Steelers, they revert to Ben throwing the ball bunches
50,
and
50,
bunches and bunches
yeah.
of time, and I mean we see what Brady's doing and all that at his age, but I think Ben's just a different story than what Brady was. First of all, I think Ben's been beat up way more than Brady has throughout his career.
easily.
Obviously.
Uh, and I don't think he's going to be able to do that every game. He can't keep throwing the ball 45, 50 times a game and expect it to turn out right. They can't depend on that. So they're going to have to, and I don't care who the quarterback is. It doesn't even have to be bad. It's whoever that you can't win like that. You can't win with your quarterback having to throw 40 to 50 times a game in the NFL. They
Mm-hmm.
have to get that running game going, and the Raiders held them to 39 rushing yards.
Yeah, that's not good.
So that's not good at all. Although they held the Raiders to 52 rushing yards, but what's his name? Josh Jacobs didn't play,
Nope, he ain't play
Right.
at
so
all.
their main running back was out.
Turf toe.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
and,
but
and
man, they got it. They have to, and the reason they can't run is not because of Najee, it's because of the offensive line. They
exactly,
can't block for him to be able to do anything. So
exactly.
they're gonna have to do something because the AFC is hot right
It's
now.
tough. It's tough.
It's tough. It's like they have some really good teams, and a lot of the teams. I would say that overall, the AFC has more defenses, more good defenses than the NFC does. So if you're in the AFC, you're gonna have a struggle. You're gonna have a struggle in these games. So they're gonna have to change something, or it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad.
And like the Steelers, they still have an elite defense. You know, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
The Raiders, they just came with a nice game plan. I think TJ Watt getting hurt definitely hampered their
Definitely.
defense a little bit. But
Hmm.
if whenever he is healthy or whatever, and like if you have a solid offensive line, you have an opportunity to take advantage of it. They can get beat deep. Like if you have a receiver like
Hmm.
Tyreek Hill, or like in this case they got Henry Ruggs, somebody
Hmm.
that can
A
go
speedster.
deep and stretch the field. You can take advantage of that. You can take some deep shots against them now. And
Hmm.
that's another thing I've noticed. And like near the end of the game, when the Raiders had the opportunity to do so, Russ is wide open for a big play for a TD. So that's another thing I've noticed with the Steelers defense. Even though they still elite, you can't beat them deep. Give an opportunity.
Hmm.
And he did that. He did that to us too, actually. So yeah, so I agree with everything that you guys said. I'm not giving the crown to the Raiders yet, but I'm not knocking them either. I mean, they did come in and beat, the Ravens and the Steelers, which looking at their entire schedule, I thought coming in would really be the two toughest teams that they would be playing. I will say I do not think either one of our defenses were at full strength for these two games. And we definitely had some key people missing. But it is what it is. It's not their fault. So I was surprised at their defense, though. I was surprised at their defense, and so that's something to me that they've kind of been lacking. So I'm not going to give them the crown yet, but I'm definitely going to give them credit for what they have done so far. And looking at the rest of their season, I'm thinking that things could kind of line up for them, like the stars all line up for them to definitely be in the playoffs and even further. Looking at the teams that they're playing, I think they only have the only other real, like they still have to play the Browns. So that should be a good test right there with the Browns. This maybe one or two. The Broncos. The Broncos have good defense. And it might be like
Well, they have to play the Chiefs twice.
right,
Don't
but
forget
that's a
that.
division rival though. Like to me, everything goes out the window for division rivals because you play your division rivals so hard, like regardless. One of them could have a losing streak but can still beat, the team that's on top. So yeah,
Right.
they definitely do have to play them. But I was just thinking about, and teams are really good. Like based off the way they've played us, I don't see why they would not gash the Chiefs right now if they had to play them next week. So
Ooh.
it's probably a good.
Ooh.
No, I'm not. I'm not throwing shade. I'm saying based
It's
off
the
of,
truth. It's the
am I
truth.
throwing
More
shade? Am
points.
I throwing?
No,
Okay,
no,
yeah,
no. The way it sounds
yeah.
though was just like just gas. I'm like,
Right,
ooh.
but it's a good. I mean, the good thing is they're not. They're not. So yeah. So I'm not going to give them the crown, but I'm definitely going to give them the credit, and we're just going to have to see what the Raiders, do for these next few games. So guys, we're actually a little over, but I definitely want to. Wait a minute. Do you guys have any last thoughts as far as the game's concerned? I'll give you last thoughts to sign off, but um,
Well, I think that the Raiders could possibly go on a little bit of a run here because they got the Dolphins coming this week. Then they play the Chargers. Then they play the Bears. Now that's going to be where the defense is going to
right. That's the
step
one
up
I
to them.
forgot.
And then they have the Broncos and the Eagles. So they have to play three good defenses in a row at that point. So we're going to see what's going to happen. But I do think their offense is for real. I do. Now, when I said they were for real, I was talking about the offense, not the defense.
Right.
I'm still a little shaky on the defense. We'll see though.
Yeah, but yeah, offensively, yeah, they've been able to put some points, but again, like I said earlier, getting Gus Bradley to be the defense coordinator was huge, and I think it's going to be huge down the stretch for them too if they are still in playoff contention. And that's my
And
last thoughts.
one last thing, even though, obviously I've been talking a lot about away, away. I have to say one of my favorite individual plays was that stiff arm by Najee. Did you guys see that?
Ooh, man.
He threw that dude onto the sideline. I started screaming, laughing. I love to see
I
stiff
didn't
arms.
see it. He
Oh,
gave
dude,
a
you
Steve
gotta
Smith.
pull it up. You gotta pull it up. He
He gave a
literally he
he gave
gave
a
him the
Steve Smith.
stiff arm of life. Like, you know what it reminded me? Remember that one that Steve Smith did
That's
when
what I
he
said.
was
He
on
gave
the
a Steve Smith.
right. He did a Steve Smith, dude. It was
Wow.
hilarious. I love to see those things. I just screamed when Najee did that. They actually ran that play a couple times too. Yeah. So you definitely got to go out on YouTube and find that. So that was
Yeah, I
one
gotta
of
check it
my
out.
my favorite individual plays of this week. That was, man, that was embarrassing. That dude had to go home to his family. It's like, why you do him like that? But yeah, so it's been a great second week of the NFL. Some great games, some surprises, some things that weren't surprising. I'm really looking forward to this next week coming in. But before we log off, just definitely want to thank both of you guys for being guests on the show tonight. I
My pleasure.
definitely enjoyed your company. And before you log off, just please let everybody know who you are, where they can find you, and all of that good stuff. We're going to go ahead and start with Bobby.
All right. Obviously, I'm Bobby. You can catch my podcast, No Pro Football Show, on YouTube under the same name, and you could also get a link to it from Twitter at MP Football Show.
Chuck.
Okay, and as far as that goes, my personal page at CPN for the win on Twitter. But my Chiefs podcast is at Kingdom Cast. That's on Twitter. That's on YouTube, Facebook. It's on Anchor as well. We're working on other platforms. We're trying to get Apple and Spotify. We're trying to get that together. But those are the platforms Kingdom Cast is on. If you want to hear us talk Chiefs. And we might throw in some other teams or other players every now and then. But yeah, it's mainly a Chiefs podcast. So you can find me there.
If you enjoyed seeing, what happened after the Chiefs lost the other night, then definitely go and check out their podcast, Kingdom Cast. They actually had me on there as a special guest, literally right after the game. And you can see the comments even and see some of these fans, Chiefs fans, just literally implode right before your eyes. That was hilarious. But I actually enjoyed it. I probably enjoyed being on there a little too much, you're definitely welcome to have me there again when it's not the Ravens and Chiefs playing. But because I just love that. So definitely go follow these gentlemen. Definitely go check out their YouTube pages. Watch their podcast for sure, for sure. I have been your host, Gina, of the She Talks Football podcast. You can find me on the Undroppables platform at the Undroppables on Twitter. And you'll be able to see the replay on their platform and on their YouTube channel. And you'll also be able to find the videos of the podcast on my personal YouTube channel, which is called She Talks Football. So thank you so very much for your time, everyone. And everyone, please stay safe and well out there. Stay safe and well. Protect yourselves. And let's pray for these players that they stay safe and well, and so they can continue to play football. All right, everyone, have a good night. Take care.